Progress. Hi, here we are. This is our third class, and I'm happy to see everyone here as always. And we were just talking, I was just talking with some people that I know. One, David Brown, um, Gilmore Crosby, and such. I see Bernadette is on now. Please unmute yourself, Bernadette, if you don't mind. And so far with these three classes, I've had some funny things happening with other people's classes years ago where like they weren't unmuting them. Everybody was unmuted when they first came aboard, and the person doing the class would be talking about something seemingly important, and a new person comes on the class and their like wife was yelling at them to like, what did you do with the dirty dishes or something like that.
Who did you think?
And it was really hilarious because there it was, the guy is saying, so point number one is very important. And the wife goes, where the hell did you put the dirty dishes? You know? So um, David was mentioning that I worked with him and a number of other people. How many years ago are you guessing, David?
It had to be around 98, 99.
Okay, so 25 years ago anyway. And his son wound up having no more migraine headaches for all of these years based on something I taught them and some other things that happened. And we're talking about, or David mentioned, it's energetic or it's energy. And that's a key point to everything I'm doing here in Seishindo. And it's a point, all of the coaching models and such were made by people, as far as I understand anyway, made by people in the Western world. And the people, the average person in the Western world hadn't been taught the importance of energy, energetic. And of course, people say things like, oh, he's got good energy. But when you study something like Aikido in a serious fashion, you start to realize, well, for one thing, that the way I call it is everyone has an energetic signature. Everyone has an energetic signature. And if you become, I don't know, I could say maybe professional level at being able to read energetic signatures, it really is like if I was to sign my name now, it would be very different if somebody else tried to sign my name. It would be clear that it was some kind of different person. And there is, what do you call that science of studying handwriting? What's that called? Graphology?
Yeah.
Yeah, graphology, I think. So there's a lot of esoteric topics. Sometimes people put a bunch of foolishness in with the topic, but graphology, numerology, energetics, these are things that I've spent time studying and I use them in my work. And I think it's important to realize that there are these different energetic phenomena going on in life. And we don't learn about these things from our cognitive mind. So it's very easy for some people to say, oh, this is nonsense, but it's not at all nonsense. And like anything else, we can make it nonsense if we take a certain topic and build that topic into just making myself come out as seemingly the greatest person in the world. But there's some real, I would like to say there's some real science behind it, even if science hasn't yet studied some of these topics. Okay, so I want to start out And it's very interesting. David's a special person because his picture stays up on my screen all the time, which is fine. Uh,
It's my energy.
yes, it's his energy. It's his energetic picture. So I want to I want to talk about a very classic piece when people talk about Zen. And this is called The Importance of Great Faith, Great Doubt, and Great Determination. And as students of life, in the Zen way of thinking, it's important to have all three, which might sound a little confusing in the beginning. Great faith, great doubt, and great determination. Most likely the great doubt part is like, huh? But I'll explain. So a monk asked his master, Master, does a dog have Buddha nature? And the monk replied, Mu. That's a Japanese word, which I'll explain in a moment. The monk replied, Mu. But by the book answer to the monk's question would have been, yes, of course the dog has Buddha nature. But again, the monk replied, Mu. And Mu can be said to mean nothing, nothingness, or pure awareness prior to experience or knowledge. And I usually like to think of the word Mu as only be aware, only pay attention. Mu. So the monk in this short story isn't really asking about some dog that he happened to meet recently, or even maybe his pet dog at home. He's really asking about himself. He's really asking, do I have Buddha nature? And the monk asked a question to which he already had a cognitive answer to, because the monk realized that cognitive doesn't really get it done for me. I need to know something on an emotional level. And so the monk asked the question, does the dog have Buddha nature? And the monk doubted what he supposedly knew, and thus the monk doubted himself. And this doubt can create the very opening that leads to further learning. And you can just think about sometimes if you're going along feeling fairly confident about things and something comes up that you don't know or understand, maybe all of a sudden you learn something important about someone you've been in a relationship with for a while. And when you think, oh my God, I'm just realizing now I've never really known them, that can create a bigger doubt. And most of us live our lives lost in our internal dialogue. And we tend to confuse ourselves further by believing our internal dialogue is reality. But in actuality, our internal dialogue is somewhat like our skin. Somewhat like our skin, which seems to make us separate from every other person in the world. And our skin is a kind of buffer zone that keeps us from entering into the deeper reality of our lives. So Seishindo invites people to cultivate times when this buffer zone, our skin, our internal dialogue is kind of removed so that we each might uncover a deeper, more life-sustaining experience. So take a deep breath. I've been talking and talking. Hopefully you'll be finding this somewhat interesting. And when we begin to question what it is we are, who it is we are, and what we're doing in the world, we soon discover we have doubts. Doubts about most everything in a way. And particularly in today's world where everything's changing so much, and like the political the political environment in the United States has gotten quite contentious. And I know for myself, I mean, I moved out of the States 40 years ago, so I'm not really all that caught up in it anymore. But I find myself really questioning what I can say to other people because I certainly don't want to start a conversation that's going to turn out to be somewhat uncomfortable for the both of us, you know? So we're in a place in time that entering into a deeper reality, deeper than the Facebook social media reality. We really have to make sure that we center ourselves, have a sense of our feet on the floor, our butts on a chair, the local sounds, colors, and such, and here we are. And so yes, when we begin to question who we are, we realize we have doubts. And if we sit with this doubt and greet it as a welcome guest, we will soon find out that at first our doubt grows more and more until such time that we feel that our doubt clouds our entire experience. And noticing this can be great because when our doubt is strong enough, it leads us to explore life or certain topics in life even more. So I started out, the name of the piece is The Importance of Great Faith, Great Doubt, and Great Determination. And great doubt can make you an explorer of life, an explorer of yourself. And take it slowly, take your life slowly. In this work, we like to say, the slower you go, the sooner you'll reach your destination. And don't strive to have all the answers to all of your doubts. Instead, let your doubts marinate your soul. So, maintaining a slow pace requires some determination because it's very easy to get sidelined or sidetracked by sounds of other people and such, and we need strong determination to continue on our path. So these are some of the things I've been wanting to say in regard to how Zen people tend to think about things. Does the dog have Buddha nature? And the monk, instead of saying yes or no, very importantly, instead of saying yes or no, he says mu. And mu means nothingness. So, I'd like to do a coaching piece with someone, and it will be rather different than what you're used to, but certainly nothing, shall we say, strange or unusual. And I don't ask people what I would call personal questions. So I just use my friend Gil's name because we know each other well. If Gil was to say, I'm having a difficult relationship with someone, I do not ask, what's that person's name or what's your relationship to that person, because that starts to get into his personal life. And there's no need to go in there to his personal life if we're going to help him. We can, if it was just Gil and I together and no one else, I might ask him who that person is. But in a public setting like this, there's no need to ask who or other personal details. So I'm hoping there's someone in the group. Let me take a moment to think how I want to say it. I'm I'm hoping there's someone in the group that has a very definite concern or challenge that they haven't really been able to figure out so far. And they'd like to have help in understanding that challenge or accomplishing their challenge. And they know that number one, they will get treated respectfully. And number two, there's no need for people to give what we would call personal or private information. So is there someone in the group that has a concern or challenge that they'd like to work with today?
I'm willing, and I also want to create space for others to volunteer if they really, really want to. So,
Okay, so let's just take a moment. There's Roger all of a sudden showing up with his iPad, Roger's iPad Pro. I mean, not just an iPad, but an iPad Pro. So I've asked who would like to work on a topic. Gil said he would. We give someone else a chance if they want to go, yeah, but me too, or not. Of course, I'm happy to work with Gil. I take a moment, create space. Okay. Looks like the intrepid soul for today is Gil. So, Gil, here's what we're going to do. Give me just a second to get organized here, because of course we're working virtually. I'm going to start playing some music, and this is the part I'm not sure about, so you'll tell me if there's music. There's nothing to hear yet. It's coming. Or at least I hope it's coming. There it is. Are you hearing some sounds, Gil?
yes.
Yes, good. And Joe, we want to highlight Gil, please.
Yes.
Okay. Listen to the music, and is it an okay level, or is it too loud or too little?
It's a little loud for me to hear you clearly.
Okay. Is this better?
It's a little better, Charlie. It's still louder than you. So I don't
Okay.
know if, what your intention is, but
I just want you to be able to hear it, but you should be able to hear me very clearly, and everyone else should be able to hear me clearly.
that's better now
Okay.
for me.
Yeah. Well, you're the only person I'm working with at the moment. And if any time during this process you say, Charlie, the music started to get too loud again, I'll be more than happy. I'm working with my iPhone, has the music. I'll be very happy to turn the volume down.
Well, when it changed, I would say if you can turn it down like a smidgen. I'm not sure
Okay. I
if you have
turned
it 70% to 60% or something like that.
Okay. So take some time now, Gil. And you can, of course, still say still too loud, although I certainly don't think it's too loud at the moment. Take some time to become present with yourself and present in your current location. So that means, like, take a deep breath. Inhale through your nose for about 4 or 5 seconds. Exhale through your nose again. 4 or 5 seconds, not important exactly. Inhaling at some point in time to where you feel your breath pushing on your pelvic floor, and your anal sphincter will actually flower a little bit, and then you exhale. And notice the local sounds, your local environment, your feeling of your feet on the floor, your butt on your chair. And just being here. And now I'd like to ask you this challenge or concern you have. If 10 makes it seem like it's almost an impossible challenge that you'll never be able to get a hold of, and 1 is like you're not even sure why you're still talking about it, what number would you give this challenge or concern?
8.
8. Okay. Let's see what happens as we go along. It'll be interesting if it winds up being a 10, but I don't think so. So what I want to do, Gil, is what we call and response. A very common thing in old-time music. One person plays ba-doop, 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 boom, and then the other person says boom, 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 for instance. That's the call and the response. Yeah, you understand what I mean?
Sure. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. Okay, good. So I want you to talk about your challenge or your concern, along with me interjecting certain thoughts. I'll be the response. You're the call, you're the response. And I just like to start out with the idea of I am silence with nothing to create, nothing to do. And go ahead and start talking about your concern now, Gil.
Well, I have 2, Charlie. And so 1 is that I really would like my books to sell. And they don't. I've written 6. I've just have my 7th coming out. I don't know if that's the kind of thing that works for you here.
Okay, well, simply staying open to the pulse of life, feeling the pulse of life, the throbbing of life, the blossoming of a flower, the birth of a baby, the ongoing birth and blossoming of being an author, and thinking, you know, I really have no story. I have no beginning, no ending. I'm simply an integral part of life. Go ahead, Gilmore.
Well, what I don't know how to give birth to is people knowing the books. So it's truly something that I have no idea how to change.
Yes. And what is it about you that belongs to time? And have a look around and feel your answer. Feel and know your answer of what is it about Gilmore that belongs to time. And for once, don't write a book right now. You can do that later. Just simply see and feel and be and take a deep breath. And then continue, please.
Well, the first thing I think of that belongs to time is death.
That's right. There isn't any special state to develop in life, really. Only pay attention to what is effortless in you already. That which is natural in you already. And that which is natural does not need to be nurtured or kept up or maintained. It just is. So just be empty here for a moment. empty and open. And go ahead, please, Gilmore.
Well, love is the first thing that came to mind.
What, please?
Love, when you were saying what's natural, and love of certainly, I love people and places, but I also love ideas, and I love learning. I love that when I write, I I must explore uh, new territory.
Yes, good, good, good. And have the source, you have the source of your emotional health and well-being inside yourself, which is great for exploring. And please realize that thought and feeling are really the same. Go ahead, Gilmore.
But it took me back to our experience together in Seattle and the oneness of thought and feeling and the differentiation of thought and feeling, both, I think, existing.
Well,
And yes,
yes, in Seattle, and yet there's only ever this moment, no other moment in time. The
mhm.
present is all there is, and today is practice for tomorrow, if indeed tomorrow ever comes. Go ahead, Gilmore.
Well, I think I could better blend the thought and feeling as I project out into the world the love I have for the thoughts I'm trying to share.
Okay? And you're capable of great things, and you already have all the resources you need to live the life you truly desire. And I think you already know that you're more than your thoughts, and you're more than your feelings. And the never-ending task in life is to discover and celebrate your essence. And that your true self resides in space and silence, and is one with all of life. So just hold on for a moment or two now, Gilmore, and I want to ask people, so this is what we're doing, what Gilmore and I are doing is unusual. As far as a coaching session goes. And I want to hear the reactions of the people that have been listening. You could say this is boring and confusing or whatever, or I'm not asking you to be negative. I'm just asking, what is your response to listening to Gilmore and I talking?
For me, I was following along as if I was the client
Okay,
and kind of being in parallel.
okay,
And, I felt a space open up.
okay. And what does that mean, the space opened up?
I was thinking of what I would have said. His was on a 1 to 10, his was an 8. In the back of my mind, I had a 5 I could talk about. And kind of following along, um, I felt a greater capacity to be with my thing as I was listening to Gil and you converse.
Okay, that I think that's an idea that I love. So Gil and I are doing this process together. It's an unusual process. I'm pretty certain you've never seen anything quite like it before. And there we are doing this call and response. And without any suggestion from me or anyone else, you feel that you're opening up to the space of your concern more than you were before we started. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And what do you think? And you're a person with a lot of coaching experience, David. What do you think is the process that was going on that led you to have a bit of an opening?
To gradually identify the thoughts, feelings, and moving beyond that.
Identifying and moving beyond a thought and a feeling.
Right.
Okay.
And really just being able to be and have a completely different perspective.
Okay. And the ability to be, and starts to get very interesting, and have a completely different experience. So what is it, do you think, that leads to completely different instead of, for instance, it was a little different?
To see the noise for what it is, and that clarity allows me to let that go, and in being without that, it's just a different space, a different way of seeing what I might call self and my
Okay.
place in the world.
Okay, good. So everyone, I suggest just take a breath. I'm wondering about Roger's experience because I don't really know Roger all that well. What's your experience, Roger?
Hi, Charlie.
Hi.
Yeah, I was also kind of just following along, thinking my own issue as well as listening to the coachee. And what I felt your prompts kept reminding me that the moment is now, not what the time I'm stressing over, past or future. And that I am capable, competent, complete in who I am. And I like that one part where you said, what's the opposite of life or the response to life? And the coachee said death, and you said right. And that is right. That's all that's at the end of this, no matter how worked up we get. And that just shifts my emotions away from, is this really that big a deal?
Yes, yes. As everybody knows, I had cancer a few years ago, and I'm 76 at the moment, so I was about 73 and a half or something when I was diagnosed with cancer. And all of a sudden, like there was a number of times I would look in the mirror, quite purposely, take a moment, just look at myself, and I would ask, are you enjoying yourself yet, Charlie? Because, someday it's going to all be over. So, Charlie, let me ask you again. Are you enjoying yourself yet? And then sometimes I would have these little background conversations that would say things like, or are you making believe that something else has to happen before you can enjoy yourself? Like you have to make that next bunch of money or whatever, because you're not complete yet, Charlie? Is that what you're trying to tell yourself?
If then,
Yes,
if X happens, then I'll be happy.
yes, yes. So this is the third class in this series. The first class, I did something called the Stroop effect, which is a piece that I've developed. And I kept on interrupting the person. You hear that click? So I was clicking, and when I clicked, the person, there was boxes, various boxes, like there would be a red box, but underneath the red box it said green. And then they'd be talking, and I'd click again, and there was a yellow box, but underneath it said black. And it doesn't matter if I say to the person, when I click, say the actual color, like yellow, or if I say, when I click, say the word underneath the box, which is black. So what happens is people are unable to really build up a head of steam about what they're talking about, because I keep on making it necessary for them to doubt what's going on. Is it that black or yellow? I've had people in the past occasionally say, would you stop interrupting me so I can tell you about the rest of my problem, damn it?
Now it's nothing.
I mean, this is serious, So I'm doing this piece today because, again, well, a number of reasons. Again, it's a piece that anyone can do, and you don't need amazing, years of study and such. I've taken a bunch of wisdom quotes and other things that just tickle my fancy, and I put them one after the other in this document that I have, and I don't always follow down one thing after the other. Sometimes I jump ahead, or sometimes I jump back behind. And the person winds up, as Gil was really doing fantastically, somehow hearing what I was saying and starting to interact from that place rather from where he would have gone on his own. And my dogs are barking, but I see that's nothing important. And they're just wanting to get in on the class, actually, I think.
They heard the part about the Zen master and the dog.
Yes, my dogs have Buddha nature. Yes, thank you, Gil. Okay, so, and Deborah, I'm wondering, and you don't have to, it's fine. You can take off your muting, and you could also enter the class. So, yes, great.
Yeah, I am riding an exercise bike, and I am just waiting to go down to the swimming pool and walk laps. So I will hear you with the earphones, but that's why I'm not being visible.
Okay, no problem, no problem.
Yeah.
So Gil, with all of this interaction and other people have been talking and such, you have a concern or a thought about why is it that your books don't sell better? You started off feeling it was like an 8 out of 10, which is like, this is really, I don't feel close to figuring this all out. What number would you say now? And don't hesitate to say 9.5 if that's where it is.
No, I'm more optimistic than that. I still have doubt, and I liked what you said earlier about doubt. I respect doubt, but so I'm going to give it a 6.5.
Okay, gone down to a 6.5. So we can all take a deep breath and we can realize, here's this guy, Charlie. He's reading text off a piece of paper, call and response style to Gilmore. So Charlie's paying attention to when he interrupts again and goes into the conversation and then backs out and interrupts again. But when you think about it, the words that I have down on this piece of paper, like I didn't even know I was going to be talking to Gilmore today about this, and I certainly didn't know what his topic was going to be. But wow, he's feeling a bit more at ease and a bit more confident about what he's doing.
It applies to my other topic too, Charlie, so I appreciate it.
Your other topic is what, please?
It's about a difficult relationship with a son.
Yes. Okay. Just 1 second to explain is, there was this lady, I don't remember her name because it was like 50 years ago, but there was a lady that used to do this incredible theater improv group down in the West Village in New York City. So the West Village, Greenwich Village, is a very unusual place in New York because there's lots of small streets. And for the most part, there is not small streets in New York. And, it's Fifth Avenue, Sixth Avenue, all big streets, big blocks. But in Greenwich Village, there's lots of very small streets. And there was a small neighborhood theater down there, might still be there. And what would happen was she'd have a class, and there might be like, let's say 20 people in the class. And all 20 of us are sitting where the audience sits starting off. And she would say, for instance, it would be different every class. She would say, okay, 6 people, whoever wants to do some improv, go up on the stage, please. So 6 people, there'd always be at least 6 people. And then she says, okay, I'm already going to close the curtain as I'm explaining to everybody else what's going on. There's a whole bunch of props off to the side. I want each one of you to somehow wear a prop. And then when I say ready, I'll open the curtain and you'll just start acting. And new people will go, what do you mean just start acting? You haven't given us any direction at all. She goes, yes, exactly. So she opens the curtain and people start doing some kind of interaction. And then she says, okay, 5 minutes is up. She closes the curtain again. And she says, please change your costume. Opens the curtain again, closes it. Well, what always wound up happening was well, almost always, maybe is more accurate. It took 3 or 4 opening and closings of this curtain before the people really put on the perfect costume for them. You understand what I'm saying? It's like some guy finally somehow putting on this super huge bra that he could fit on himself, and somebody else doing something else, and all of a sudden their improv took off and it was always phenomenal. Certainly a performance you would have gladly paid to go see. So I'm saying that, Gilmore, because, anybody that's in coaching knows that there's always another issue somehow hiding behind the issue that the client brings up.
I can think of a bunch.
Yes. Yes.
Including wanting to look like I'm competent or something. And
yes.
And so I've had little moments like that in this process that
yes.
I've then said, okay, that's, then I've let go of that. But
yeah, well, Gilmore, in particular for people who aren't really truly competent, looking competent is really important. And
Well,
imagine,
I'm some sort of, Jekyll and Hyde on that one, Charlie.
yeah, imagine if you were truly competent. There's this thing about worrying about something that isn't needing to be worried about.
Hmm.
So, meanwhile, not only are you feeling a little tiny bit closer, maybe about understanding your book situation, but what else are you starting to understand?
Well, I just want to bring even more love to whatever it is that I'm each moment, basically. I do have a lot of it in me. So, and I think that'll generally be the wise thing to do.
Okay, good, good. So, you know, there was a person that was on the last call, and I mean, everybody on the call today is a nice person. Why not? And there was about two more people on the last call, two more students, and two students wound up writing me a little note after the class asking, and I always use the name Fred so I don't, take away from anybody's privacy. Who was that guy, Fred? He seemed like a really nice person. And I thought, wow, I couldn't help but think, wow, I wish I was Fred. Because I would love people saying, oh, that Charlie, he's such a nice person, you know? And it goes back to the original idea from David is it's all energy. And love has a lot to do with energy.
When you told your improv story, which I think I enjoy dressing up and being whatever character I am. Uh, anyway, I was thinking, yeah, for me, it's to take off the masks and just, you know, and just be in the moment.
What about that?
What's that? Did you say what?
What about in a way just unmasking and being in the moment?
Uh-huh, yeah. And instead of thinking I have to put on some kind of persona or uh, not look silly or something in the midst
Yes.
of
Yes.
receiving your help. So
And
anyway,
these are the thoughts we have going on inside our head. And, you know, what we do inside of our head is like the special effects unit of one of the world's most fantastic movie theaters. So we create all this amazing stuff inside of our head, and we often try to make believe, no, 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 that was just reality that took place. No, sorry. That was you creating this incredible movie. And
it's easy to get attached
yeah,
to the movie.
so, okay, David, tell us, and or Jill, tell us a little something that you're feeling, thinking now.
I like the conversation moving towards more curiosity, more openness, and less attachment to our stories and recognizing that they're stories. It
Okay,
feels like it's in that direction.
okay, yes, yes,
Someone in the chat said, instead of participants, call them explorers.
yes.
And I think we're all explorers. And if you don't think you are, you're probably lost.
Okay, and who made that suggestion, please?
Deborah.
That was Deborah.
I see that Jill said yes, but who made it to begin with?
Deborah.
Oh,
Oh, Deborah. Okay, cool. She made that suggestion, and then she's off doing something else, which is fine.
She's in
Yeah,
the pool.
that was me. I'm getting ready for the pool.
Okay, okay,
But the earphones are there. No
Good.
splashing.
okay.
Definitely an explorer.
I
Yes,
like the idea of explorers. I think that hits everybody with NLP. We're all explorers.
yes. Good. You're correct. Whether we want to be or not, actually.
right.
How about Jill? What does Jill have? I'd love to hear what Jill has to say about anything.
Well, I'm just kind of taking it all in. I'm not a coach per se. I'm got a little bit different background, so I'm just kind of taking it all in.
Okay, and what's your feeling so far?
It's curiosity. I like learning about new things and all. So
Okay. So the thing is, Jill, is that when we have a client, as a coach, when we have a client, there can be all these concerns I have is like, do I know enough? Am I getting along with them? Do I have love? And I think as a coach, the most important thing really is, do I believe in myself? And I'm not talking about believing that I'm such a wonderful, incredible human being or blah, blah, blah nonsense. Just, am I comfortable being in my skin? And if I'm comfortable being in my skin, that will exude out, again, energetics, that will exude out, and the person will feel supported, they'll feel a little bit more confident, or also they'll feel that they have the freedom to say some things about themselves that they might not often want to say in public, even if it's just a coach, because they'll feel embarrassed to say, oh, I'm so lacking in sometimes, or something like that. Here I am, this CEO of a fairly large company, and I live every day in insecurity. And that, if that would actually, I've had that happen a few times over the course of my career, and just being able to say that is a huge gift to that CEO. And sometimes as a CEO or a leader or a coach, the whole issue is, what do you see your job to be? Does the CEO need to be the smartest person in the company? I don't think so. So here we are, and Gilmore was thinking about his books, and only if it's quite okay, Roger, I want to ask you what your experience has been.
Just like I said, I feel calmer, and I feel like just the grip on my attention and emotions that my issue had is just lessened, and it's like it'll get sorted out.
Yeah. Yes. And sometimes it can be like somehow life will sort this out. Or it can just be, I've got the wherewithal, the skills to sort this out. Why not? Okay, so good, thank you.
Hmm.
So what we're here to do, I think, as a coach, is to help the person we're working with. I'm pausing to think of what I really want to say here. To help the person we're working with to feel good about themselves and to help them to feel capable and confident.
Hmm.
And we're all in that improv theater. And I particularly like I've done a bunch of work in multinational corporations when I was living in Tokyo. And oh my God, it's so incredible. If you even wear a tie that's a little bit different than everybody else, you can see people are kind of like elbowing each other saying, look at him and that tie he's got on. And, when you see the picture of the lion or the tiger going through the savannah and the savannah grass is brown and the lion is brown, you have to really pay attention to make sure you see the lion. Well, yes, nature was designed like that. Of course, the lion's not pink and the savannah grass is brown. And one of the things that happens big time in corporations is people look to blend in. And so you'll see, particularly if you're in a country like Japan, almost every man in a certain corporation is wearing a suit that's very close to the same color, a drab tie, because they just want to blend in. And what that corporation really needs is someone that's not going to blend in. Someone has the courage to step up and say, hey, what about doing it a better way? So this is a class today. This is class number 3. Hopefully someday I'll be talking about class number 50 or something. It's a method that for some people won't have a clear methodology. For me, the clear methodology for today, just for today, and also when we did the Stroop effect, is don't allow a person to build up a head of steam talking about their incredibly big time problem.
Hmm.
Find a way, a respectful way to interrupt them and keep on pointing to, oh, look at that beautiful horizon over there, or look at that over there, respectfully, so they don't come away saying, why the hell did this guy keep on interrupting me? And that's why I was interrupting Gilmore with various statements that I would call wisdom statements. So there's a part of Gilmore hearing and feeling like, oh yeah, wow, that's interesting, while he's going on about his book and he comes to the topic of love. So the main point for today is don't allow, in a friendly way, in a creative way, don't allow your client to really build up a head of steam in regard to their problem, because the more they build up the head of steam, the bigger the problem appears to be.
I thought you also had a rhythm to your interaction with me that really invited me to not go on and on. So,
Yes, I did. Yes, that's level 2.
okay. How many
Well,
levels are there, Charlie?
I'm not allowed to tell you that in the first class. No.
Okay.
So
Moo.
you see, okay, like I'll say, before the class, so the class started 7 a.m. here for me. So I got up at 5:30 this morning. And totally honest, I hit snooze my phone and I wound up getting up at 5:45. I felt so guilty. No. So I got up at 5:45 and I made a cup of coffee. And what I've been doing for a while now is I took a cold shower and and wow, that's invigorating. A 5-minute cold shower, nothing but cold water.
Hmm.
And I'm there doing key eyes and stuff going, whoa, that's so great, you know, and I have my phone set for 5 minutes, so I never ever am doing less than 5 minutes, but I also don't do 6 minutes. But anyway, I do at least 5 minutes and 10 seconds. And then I just came and I sat here in the same exact chair that I'm sitting in now. And I did a little thankfulness routine. My daughter's birthday is coming up in about 9 days' time. And I actually am so proud of myself. I went on to Amazon yesterday and found something that I know she's really going to like. And I sent her 2 different special flower vases. And so when I did my little thankfulness routine this morning, I talking to the universe, or I could call God, I said, thank you for my daughter, Marina. Thank you for her mother, Hiroko. Thank you for the fact that I had stage 4 cancer, and the doctor said, I'll tell you the truth, you're not meant to live through the treatment process. The most likely thing that will happen is you'll die before the treatment process is over. And I said to the doctor, thank you for telling me that. And I don't want to use any foul language, but I'm going to beat the statistics, I'll guarantee you. So here I am 2.5 years later, and thank you for that, God. And the whole treatment process was far and away the most difficult thing I'd ever gone through in my life. After all these years of intense martial arts training and everything, the cancer treatment was so much more difficult than that. It was frigging mind-boggling. But here I am, and thank you, So that when I came to this class today, I felt like I didn't have another agenda running in the background. So I want to just ask, no need for anybody to have to say anything. I want to ask if there's anybody that would just like to say anything at all before we end in a few minutes' time.
Hey, this is Roger.
I'm grateful you beat cancer and you're with us today.
Thank you, David. I'm thankful also for that. Thank you.
Yeah, this is Roger, and I just putting it all together, what I perceive is when we can break out of that emotional tangle of the power of the emotions or the frustration or the problem, and that can move us into that quiet place, the mu, if that's what you mean, the mu-shin. And that's where creativity and innovation comes from. It rarely comes out of the stress and tension state.
Yes. Yes. It's a very well-known concept, Roger, sure you've been aware of it prior to today, is that, trying to think how to say it, the bigger space of nothingness you can create, the bigger potential there is for creativity.
Or maybe
And
acceptance.
yeah, or acceptance. And you know, in something like Aikido, because I only really know about Aikido because I didn't study other martial arts and stuff, or not seriously, is we do the same few techniques over and over and over and over again. We hope to do each technique at least 1,000. Why? Because when the moment comes where all of a sudden you're really getting attacked, if that would ever happen, you're able to perform without thinking about it. You perform in the moment. In the moment. And that creates, the more emptiness there is, the more quietness there is, the greater the potential. It's just like a spark that happens. So yes, thank you. Anyone else want to say anything?
I always find you refreshing, Charlie, even during your cancer treatments, and we would talk. There was a, sadness and so on, and fear I had for you, but you have uh, a pure heart that it's like taking a cold shower.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Talking to you in terms of my own,
The
where
one
I
book
am in
I
my
wrote is
life.
called Pure Heart, Simple Mind.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
You know,
Yeah. Well, by a clear mind.
and one of the things, been so many things that proved interesting with my cancer journey, and one of them was people that I know, could have been you, Gilmore, even, but other people were like, let's say I finished my cancer treatment and it's been 8 months since then. And I see someone, I've seen them a couple of times during that 8 month period, whether it's on the internet or in person. And a number of people have said, "Oh my God, Charlie, you look so much better today. I saw you when you first came back from the hospital and I didn't dare say anything to you, but my God, my friend, you were so washed out. And it wasn't the Charlie that I'm used to interacting with." And I felt so great that they're saying somehow I had more energy today than I did like 2 months ago. And let me ask David and Deborah and Joel and Gilmore and Roger, are you enjoying yourself yet?
I wanted to make a comment.
Okay.
I'm also a cancer survivor, not to the extent you are, but yeah, I carry the scars. Also, very nice presentation today. Thank you.
Yes. Good. Okay. I like to end pretty close to on time, not because I've got an important schedule, but just I think it's a good practice. So we're 1 minute over. I want to thank everyone, and I hope you'll come back for other classes. And please also tell other people about the classes. I mean, at this point in time, they're still free. And I'm trying to build up a bit of a community, and these classes can go on for a while and people can really benefit. And you start to know the other people in the community: David, Gilmore, Roger, Deborah, Charlie, Joel, and you have a sense that you're not alone. you're very much not alone. So thank you for today. Joel, as always, thanks for orchestrating the class. And thank you to everyone for attending.
You're welcome, Charlie. And once again, just a wonderful example of all the different ways you help create space for people and whatever's going on.
Okay.
Thank you,
Blessings
Charlie.
to all.
For you, Charlie.
And really a blessing to see everyone. And like David, it's been years. So thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.